Ever since Nintendo retired the DS and 3DS family, people have been asking the same question. Why hasn't anyone made a modern dual screen handheld? This is the AYN Thor, a premium Android handheld with a clamshell design, dual OLED displays, Hall effect sticks, and enough power to emulate anything from Game Boy to Switch. But is this actually the ultimate Android handheld, or is it just some cool gimmick? So don't be a Thor loser. Check out the rest of this video to find out. The AYN Thor has dual screens. The top one is a 6-inch 1080p screen with 120Hz AMO LED with a 16:9 aspect ratio, and the bottom screen is a 3.92-inch 60Hz OLED display with an unusual 1240 by 1080 resolution, a 1 to 0.87 aspect ratio. This is where you'll do most of the multitasking and dedicated controls. The CPU is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The light version of the Thor has a Snapdragon 865. For RAM, we're rocking 12 gigabytes of LPDDR5X memory. Storage has up to 256 gigabytes of Universal Flash Storage 3.1, but there's also a micro SD card slot. There is an active cooling system, and the Thor has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery. There are two recessed Hall effects controls, so they'll remain drift-free forever. There are two front-facing stereo speakers. This is a clamshell dual screen design and weighs 380 grams. The Thor is running Android 13 and AYN's custom overlay for gaming optimization. The first thing that stands out is obviously the design. Unlike most other handhelds released over the past few years, this folds down like a Nintendo DS. And honestly, I love it. Not because it's nostalgic, but because it's practical. When it's closed, the screens are protected. You don't have to worry about scratches when tossing it into a backpack or even your pocket. It also feels surprisingly compact considering it has a 6-inch main display. The hinge feels solid and stays where you put it. It has 3 semi-lock positions. Weight-wise, it's definitely heavier than a DS, but lighter and smaller than a Steam Deck, so it strikes a nice balance between portability and comfort. The joysticks are recessed, so you can actually close the lid, and there's enough space for you to move around with your thumbs, but it does take some getting used to. The buttons feel good, and by default has the Nintendo button layout, where the A and B buttons are reversed. The A button is in the east position, but this is changeable within the settings. The displays is probably my favorite part of this entire handheld. The main display is a gorgeous AMO LED panel. The colors pop. The blacks are truly black, and the contrast is excellent. Everything from retro pixel art to modern Android games looks fantastic. And then there's the second screen. At first, I thought I'd barely use it. It turns out I use it all the time. For DS and 3DS games, it's obvious. But even outside of emulation, it's surprisingly useful. You can keep emulator controls, Discord, music controls, system monitoring, or streaming tools on the bottom screen while your game stays uninterrupted on the top. It's one of those features you don't appreciate until you actually live with it. It does have USB 3 out and connects to external displays with a compatible cable. My Rokid AR glasses work just fine out of the box, and I'm able to play 3DS and Virtual Boy games in their original stereoscopic mode using these glasses. Unfortunately, plugging in the glasses blanks out both the top and bottom screens by default, but you can change that in the settings so that the screens remain on when you plug in an external display. By default, it outputs the top screen. Documentation says that there's a way to get both screens to output via USB. I haven't been able to get that to work. Powering the Thor is Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip. Even though there's newer mobile chips now, this processor is incredibly capable. Since it's Android, it does take some tweaking to get a 10-foot experience. One of the ways to load up a game is by using ISU, IISU. which is a launcher that loads up your different emulators and your games so that you can just pick it. Like here's Switch games, you can just select them. Loading up games does take a little bit more effort, like it does on a PC, where you have to launch an emulator and then select the ROM to load. The best application for this type of handheld is, of course, for running DS and 3DS games. There's enough horsepower here to run Dreamcast, GameCube, Wii, and PlayStation 2 games. And they're all excellent experiences, with a few exceptions. 3DS especially feels like this handheld was specifically built for it. Having separate screens like this makes games like Pokemon, Zelda, and Animal Crossing feel almost native again. Switch emulation is a little bit more complicated. Many games work surprisingly well, while others still depend on emulator compatibility more than just raw hardware. So the Thor has some power, but software still determines what runs perfectly. For example, this can totally run most 3DS games, but Luigi's Mansion just can't run without stuttering on basically any hardware. We were even able to get some Steam titles up and running. For the controls, AYN did a good job here. The Hall Effect stick feels smooth and should avoid stick drift over time. The D-pad is responsive, base buttons have a nice and satisfying click, and the triggers have plenty of travel. Overall, everything feels pretty premium. I do wish the ergonomics were a little thicker. During some long gaming sessions, I found myself wanting a bit more grip. It's not uncomfortable, but just not quite perfect. There's your standard buttons, A, B, X, and Y, using the Nintendo layout, where A is in the east and B is in the south position, but you can change that in the settings. In addition to the A, B, X, Y buttons, there's standard controller buttons. Select, start, right bumper, left bumper, triggers, left stick, right stick click, and there's some additional buttons specific to the AYN handheld. It has the AYN button, a home button, and a context-sensitive menu button. These are similar to the navigation buttons that you'll find on a Steam controller or a Steam Deck. To close software, you press the home button to go to home like you would on any Android phone, and then you have to go in and swipe the open applications away. Let's do some size comparisons. So here's the AYN Thor, here's a Steam Deck, and an original 3DS, and a Switch 2. While larger, it's not as ergonomic as a Steam Deck, so we 3D printed a grip for the Thor, and it does make holding it more comfortable, but it moves the triggers higher, so you have to kind of reach for them. Like most Android handhelds, the setup takes a little bit of work. You'll probably install your favorite launcher, configure emulators, map the controls, maybe tweak some performance profiles, and if you're already familiar with Android handhelds, that's going to be normal. But if you're brand new, expect to spend an entire evening getting everything exactly how you want it. The upside to that, though, is flexibility. You're not locked into one ecosystem or emulator. You can play retro games, Android games, cloud gaming, remote play, streaming from your gaming PC. The Thor handles all of it. There is a little bit of setup to do to run the emulators. ISU is going to be your friend. It's some software that you can run that acts like a front end for several emulators so that you can just pick a game and run it. Switching between screens can be a pain once you've opened some software. Different software packages have support for each of the displays, but changing between the two isn't feasible like it was on the DS. Basically, once you open an application on the wrong screen, you have to close it and open it on the correct screen. Closing software can be an issue too. Like Android, you have to use an upward gesture to access the applications. See, it's not even working here. This gesture only works on the top screen and sometimes doesn't even register, like now. You can close the lid at any time to pause any game and pick it right back up where you left off. It works most of the time, but there's some times when it doesn't. Battery life really depends on what you're playing. This has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery on it. Older systems can last for several hours, as well as streaming from the cloud or another PC, but more demanding games like Switch are going to drain it faster, obviously. The active cooling, there's a fan here on the back, does a respectable job keeping the temperatures under control. The fan's noticeable, but it's not distracting enough to ruin your gameplay. No handheld is perfect, and here's some things that I didn't like. The biggest downside is the price as well as its availability. This isn't trying to compete with any budget handheld. It's definitely aimed at enthusiasts. Secondly, Android emulation still requires some setup, and don't expect a console like experience out of the box at all. And finally, the second screen is amazing, but only if you actually use the software that benefits from it. If all you play are Game Boy Advance games or PSP titles, you definitely won't get as much value from this than you would if you were playing a DS or 3DS game. Who should actually buy the AYN Thor? If you're a huge Nintendo DS or 3DS fan, this is probably one of the best modern devices you can own. If you're looking for one Android handheld that can handle retro gaming, cloud gaming, streaming, and Android titles, the Thor makes a lot of sense. But if you're on a tighter budget or don't care about the dual screens, there's more affordable options out there. So, is the AYN Thor worth it? For me, yes. Not because it's the fastest handheld, and not because it has the biggest screen, but because it's different. In a market where nearly every handheld looks the same, AYN took a genuine risk. This dual screen design isn't just nostalgia, it actually improves the experience for a surprising number of games. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it is one of the most interesting handhelds released in years. If you've been waiting for a modern successor to the Nintendo DS, this might be the closest thing we've seen. If this review helped you out, leave a like, subscribe for more handheld reviews, and let me know in the comments. Would you pick the AYN Thor over something like the Odin 2 or a Steam Deck? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're having fun.